Before Cameron goes to school, I'm gonna make him breakfast. And one of his favorite things is pancakes. It's a whole wheat and chocolate chip pancake. Hi, morning, Bobby. How are you? How was your sleep? Was it good? Did you have nice dreams? Have a kiss? Okay, you gonna help Daddy make pancakes? Okay. So there's milk in there. Okay, do you wanna help Daddy pour that in? Go. And 2, there we go. Daddy will get the baking powder. So now we need 2 teaspoons of baking powder. We mix that through, and then just 2 teaspoons of really good extra virgin olive oil. That's about 2 teaspoons there. Okay, now we have to mix. Make sure all of the lumps are gone. Is that a lump? Yeah. So we're not ready yet, right? Yeah. Okay, now for the best part. What is the best part of the pancake? The chocolate chips in? Yeah. Okay. How many chocolate chips do you want? Let's put a little bit more in just for good luck. Whoa. All of this chocolate's gonna really make him hyperactive, but that's okay because he's off to school pretty soon. So the teachers can deal with it. You wanna come fry, Cameron?
Yeah.
Okay, let's go. There you go. Thank you, big guy. Is that enough butter?
Yeah.
Yeah, sure?
Yeah.
All right. What does that look like to you? Ready? No? Okay. To make pancakes more enticing for kids, you can top it off with strawberries and drizzle it with some chocolate sauce. Are these your favorite pancakes? Yeah. Yeah? This is a great way to bond with your kids. Just let them help you out in the kitchen. I can remember when I was a kid, I used to help my mother out pretty much at this age. And for me, to have him help me work inside the kitchen is something great. Do you enjoy helping Daddy in the kitchen?
Yes.
Yeah? All right. Okay, so the first thing we have to do is we have to get 4.5 cups of all-purpose flour. We now need 1 teaspoon of yeast to go in, 1.5 teaspoon of salt goes in, and then 2 tablespoons of white sugar, just regular granulated white sugar. That'll give the hamburger buns a really nice little sweetness to it. We're just gonna add 1 cup of milk, and then 1/2 cup of water, and then about 1/4 cup of butter, roughly about that. Just give it a little stir around like that. Just incorporate all the yeast and the sugar and the salt. About 1.5 cups of this flour, salt, sugar, yeast mix. Now that our milk and our water and our butter has just come up to temperature, the butter has just melted, we've left it for like 2 or 3 minutes just to cool down a little bit. We're now gonna add that into our flour. And then we're now just gonna add about 1/2 cup of flour. I'm now mixing it through here. What we're doing is we're trying to make the dough really nice and stretchy and nice and elastic, because that elasticity of the dough is what's going to make it rise, and that's what's going to make it not crack. We now get a bowl, and we're just lightly going to drizzle it with olive oil. Get our hand in, stick that up, and we're going to wrap it in plastic wrap, and we're going to wait for it to double in size. We call that proving. So that'll be in there for 1 hour. That'll be nice and doubled in size. Right, so now that our bread dough is in the oven, it's sort of proving. We're just gonna wait for it to double in size. It's now time to make the fresh pasta. This is one of my son's favorite dishes. It has been for the longest time. It is fresh pasta, pesto, cherry tomatoes, and shrimp. But first we have to get fresh pasta on. I'm going to show you how easy it really, really is. Okay, so that's 500 grams. Goes in there. Now it's time to fetch some eggs. 60 ml of water. Try and use really good quality olive oil. So it needs to be seasoned quite a lot. We make a little well in the middle like this. That's probably about that. Then we pour that inside, and that well is going to hold everything together. And just incorporate it a little bit at a time like that. So now you can see it's all really coming together nicely. And now we can bring everything else in and really drawing everything in together like this. So now we've worked the dough for about 6 minutes, 5 to 6 minutes, and you can see how really nice and elastic that is now. When I pull it, it sort of jumps back, and that's exactly what we want. It's really got nice and smooth now. It's nice and elastic. Now it's time to just get maybe about 1/3 of it. And the piece of pasta dough that you don't use, make sure you wrap it in plastic wrap, otherwise it's going to dry out. And then when you roll it through, it's just going to fall apart. Okay, so you want to get a rough hand like that. So now we move on to number 2. Stretch it out, getting a little bit tacky. And this is what I like to sort of install in my kids when I make their food. I really want them to understand where their food comes from, and I really want to control what goes inside of their stomachs. And I think that's very, very important, or that's something on my mind when I feed the family, definitely. Always be really, really generous the amount of salt, and then the pasta just goes in. We've had them inside there for about an hour, and it has definitely doubled in size. You see it's really nice and airy, really nice air pockets all around it. It's nice and soft, which means we've done everything according to plan. So now we just have to take this out. So now, if I push this down, you can see how much air has actually gone into it. So now I just need to push a lot of the air out. And now that I've pushed a lot of the air out, you can see how big the dough actually is, right? So it's risen nicely, it's doubled in size. We don't want to go crazy with it now. We just want to push it down softly. We don't want to overwork all of the gluten. We do that is we push it down with our palm and we roll it like this in our hands. And as we're rolling, we're really tightening the outside of the burger bun until it's like that. And it's a really nice round shape, and we take our hands and we just push it down. Okay, so this is the last one now. We're just gonna shape it, press it down. Now it's time for its, what we call the second proving. Okay, so now as we did it in the big bowl, proved the whole thing, we now shape it and we're gonna cover it in a paper towel and we're gonna leave it for like half an hour, 45 minutes, just to puff back up again. And by proving it twice, it gives us a really nice, like softer bread, really nice tiny little air bubbles inside the bread. Cover it up, leave it for 35 to 40 minutes. So one of my son's ultimate favorites is pesto. I don't know where he got that from, but it's been his favorite ever since he was very, very young, just when he started eating solid foods. Make sure all of the water is out, really get stuck in there. And because if there's too much water in there, it's gonna make your pesto really watery. And then another thing that goes in classic pesto is pine nuts. Now pine nuts are really, really hard to find. If you can find them, fantastic. If you can't find them, it's not the end of the world. You can use things like walnuts, you can use cashew nuts, you can even use peely nuts if you want. Now don't add too much salt, because remember, Parmesan tends to be a little bit salty, so I like a lot of black pepper in mine, and so does Cameron. Right, and you can see the color of that. It's really nice, deep, intense green color, and the consistency of it is really nice and thick. It's not oily, it's not greasy. There we go. Hi, Bubby.
Hi, Daddy.
Give me a kiss. How was school?
Fun.
You have fun?
Yeah.
What are you gonna have for lunch?
Pasta and pesto.
And shrimp. You like shrimp?
And the same shrimp that I have.
It's always the same shrimp that you have. Right. This is your favorite? Yeah. Want some shrimp? So now these burger buns have risen really nicely. They've pretty much doubled in size. Now to give them a nice little glaze, we just have one whole egg, just a touch of milk and a little bit of salt. A little bit of sesame seeds, and the eggs is going to help the sesame seeds stick. I'm going to add maybe about a teaspoon of dried oregano, some thyme leaves, just maybe about half a teaspoon, then some dried rosemary. Just a little bit goes in there. And then just to give it just a little bit of smokiness, I'm gonna add some Spanish paprika. Good job, big guy. Well done. See, this is how I like spending the little time that I do have off. This is how I like spending and supporting my kids playing football or playing baseball, whatever it is. I'm over the moon right now. That was a good game of football, Bobby.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you like fries?
Get some potatoes.
Yeah.
And then they will become fries.
And then they become crisp and thin, right?
Yeah.
All right. That's enough fries for us, right? Good job. Everyone in my family has busy schedules. It's not too often that we get time together, but whenever we do get the time, barbecue is one great way to celebrate it. Next week, I'll be barbecuing for the whole family while we catch up and maybe share a bottle of wine. To get the recipes from the show, check out my website, markettomaster.com. And if you want to see behind the scenes and latest updates, follow us on Facebook and Twitter.